Madison Lawlor Orion. Thank you so much for joining PopWire today. How are you guys doing?
Great. Thanks for
Doing
having us.
good. Yeah, excited to be here.
Awesome. Excited to have you on. Okay, so first of all, I want to congratulate you on The Conjuring: The Last Rites. I'm sure you've heard the big news that it has had a massive opening weekend, grossing 83 million domestically. The film set a new franchise record for the Conjuring series, breaking the box office record previously held by The Nun. And how does it feel to be part of this massive movie franchise and for your movie to not only go number one domestically, but number one globally?
Well, thank you so much. And I mean, yeah, it's incredibly exciting and sort of mind-blowing. And I think it's just so cool that people have come out and are coming to watch this movie in theaters. I think that's just really nice and inspiring as a lover of films and as a filmmaker and actor. I'm just so happy that people are going to see the film in theaters.
Yeah, I think it's just incredible that it's getting acknowledged, as this incredible movie that it is. And especially, like you said, internationally. Like, it's so amazing to get like a worldwide release that is appreciated by so many people.
Okay, I gotta say, you both are pretty young, so I'm sure you keep up with the latest in pop culture news. I'm sure you've heard that comedian Matt Rife recently purchased the Ed and Lorraine Warren's Connecticut home and museum and became the guardian of the Annabelle doll. What are your
Yeah.
thoughts on that?
I'm
It's
just
wild.
Yeah, it's wild, and I'm so curious about how, I really hope he carries on the legacy in a respectful way, but it's so interesting to me. I mean, I'm very curious about his investment, like, emotionally. I wanna know why, and if he's, like, been a fan of the franchise forever, what that stems from.
Yeah, I mean, it's so interesting that he decided to do it. Especially this timing is so interesting because Annabelle has been in the news and a lot's been going on, and it, hopefully he'll be all right, but we'll see.
Yeah. I'm such a big fan of James Wan, and I loved his cameo at the end of the movie. Did you get to work with him at all during the making of this movie? And if so, what was that like?
He was on set for a portion of it, and, he's just so he's just so cool, and he just, like, knows his stuff. He's so talented, it's amazing, but he was nothing but positive and so supportive and very excited.
Yeah, I feel like really wasn't sure whether he was gonna be there or not. He's got a lot going on, but when he was there on set one day, it was immediately like, "Oh wow, this is incredible!" And even just shaking his hand was amazing. And um, he's so chill. He's so down to earth for like this incredible creator of so many different things.
Mm, awesome. Orion, I have to say how almost eerily accurate it is how much you look like a young Patrick Wilson. And I'm sure you've been getting that a lot throughout this whole press thing for this movie. And Madison getting to play a younger version of Lorraine Warren, played by the absolutely fantastic Vera Farmiga. They're both such phenomenal actors. Did the two of you get to meet them and study how they portray the Warrens?
We did get to meet them. Patrick set aside time with me and we went through my scenes beat by beat and he gave me advice on the character and the voice and the mannerisms. And it was just such a gift to be able to work with him because he's a very busy man. So I was like, I don't want to waste your time. I'm a nobody. It's all right. But he was just so generous with it and it was really sweet.
Mm,
Yeah, I mean, the same with Vera. She and I sat down together and went through everything and also just talked about her knowledge that she has about Lorraine in general, and she taught me how to wrap the rosary around my hand, how she does, and she was really, very generous with her time and extremely kind and also gracious and also saying to have ownership over this, and that she was very encouraging.
mm. The two of you open the movie, which is such a big deal. You play the younger versions of Ed and Lorraine Warren. And I don't think it's a spoiler to say that the two of you are in a scene at the hospital, a pregnancy scene, a delivery scene. And both of your performances in that scene were so powerful and so heartbreaking, especially you, Madison, when yeah, I don't want to spoil too much, but how did the two of you prepare to go into that scene? And after filming that completed, how do you wind down? Because I can imagine that it was so emotionally draining for the both of you.
Yeah, well, thank you. That's so kind of you to say also, but, It is sort of daunting when you know you have these big moments where, these stakes are really high and the emotions are like the most painful thing I think a parent can go through. And it's sort of one of those things that lives in the back of your mind until you're doing it. And I think for me, just being really present with the circumstances, and there's helpful things there too. Like you're actually in this uncomfortable cot, and there's all this madness happening around you. It feels really surreal and intense in it. But it's very emotionally draining. And I think as soon as that scene is over, you're like, oh my gosh. Like, I don't think I relaxed until we were done filming that part of the sequence for the entire shoot, because it was such a knowing that you're gonna have to go to that painful place and try to sustain it for that long. It's a relief when you're finished. And I think coming down from it is challenging. And then you start kind of logically analyzing it afterwards because you can't be logical in the moment. So it's hard to come down, I think. I don't know.
Yeah. Madison brought up so many great points, and like it definitely isn't a switch. Like, it isn't, when you hit cut on the last day, it doesn't just go away all of a sudden. And I think it took me, a little while, a couple months to like totally release from it. And I don't know, for me it was really just embracing the circumstances of being Ed, with Lorraine and just being with her through this intense experience. And there's this interesting dynamic between the two of them where she's clairvoyant and Ed is not. And so for a lot of their relationship, he just has to be there with her and embrace her and trust her. And, even in this process of pregnancy, the father isn't going through it and really just trying to be there with her was how I approached the scene the most.
Throughout this movie, there's a mantra that Judy recites whenever she's scared. Is there anything similar or anything else both of you do in your personal lives to help yourselves calm down in scary or intense situations?
For this production, I guess after a day, I would go and take a long bath. And I'm not typically a bath person, but something about it was just perfect for this setting. We were in London and it was a little cold and rainy, so just getting home and laying in a hot bath and just letting everything melt away for a little bit
Mm.
was how I coped day to day through it.
Yeah, I think something I try to remind myself of is, you know, every moment is just a moment and it'll end and you can get through it. And that is universally applied, not just for making this movie, but in general. If I'm feeling anxious about something or if something feels out of my control, I try to remind myself it's only temporary. The pain is temporary, the fear is temporary. And that's sort of what I cling on to is, inevitable change is inevitable, and that can be a really good thing.
Conjuring the Last Rites is very family focused. I love how emotional the movie was with the Warren family and the message of being there for your family. And Orion, you just mentioned, being there with Madison's character during that birth scene. What message do you hope, or what do you hope audiences take away from seeing this movie?
I think hold on tight to the ones you love. And that through the worst of situations, as long as you hold on to those people, it'll be okay. And, you can make it through so much if you just stay sturdy with those around you.
Yeah, I think, as maybe cliche as this saying is, I think one thing that's apparent throughout, with the Warrens and throughout this film is like love does conquer all, and it's having paying attention to the right things. Even for Lorraine and for Judy in this film, it's like focusing. Don't give all of your attention to the negative. Focus on the positive. Focus on the bright and the light. And I think that this film ends hopefully on a light note, and that is something we all can take away from the movie.
Oh, that was beautiful. Okay. So, and speaking of the ending of the movie, there's sort of a passing of the torch. But I think if we were to see more movies, it should feature the two of you. Lorraine says in the film that they started young. And if I remember correctly, Ed said that they handled, I think, thousands of cases. I think a few prequel movies with the both of you as the Warrens would be fun. And I'm sure you can't say if that is the plan, but what are your thoughts on the possibility of going back to the 60s, with the two of you as the leads?
I mean, we certainly don't know anything about what the future holds, but from an outside perspective, as a fan of the franchise too, I think there is so much about the beginning that is very intriguing, and the period too, like the '60s. It's such a fun era and time to explore that I think, from as a fan, I would be delighted. But also, just having any part of this, or being able to be any part of this, has been really just such an. I'm so grateful.
I think that's perfectly said. Uh, there is so much to explore there, I think, and so interesting to see how they got into it and how that came together. And it really is such an honor that so many fans have kind of speculated like, oh, what would it be like, if there was this story of them when they were younger. And I mean that just means the world to me. And you know, it, it's uh it's just looking to be a part of this movie by itself is just so incredible.
And then my final question is, why should moviegoers check out your new movie, Conjuring: The Last Rites?
I think that nothing brings people together like being scared together. I mean, that's when you're gonna hold the person next to you's hand, and I think that should be experienced in an audience and in a theater, and I think it's so much more fun to take this ride with people, and it's just such a big film. The scares are big, the set pieces are big, the cinematography, it's a beautiful world, and I think that it should be seen on the big screen.
I think it's also just such a satisfying movie. If you have been a fan of the franchise, there's so many different things that tie in so well in the end. But even if you haven't seen it, I think it that has a very good beginning, middle, and end, and is just such a strong film through and through.
Yeah, I want to add on that because throughout the whole Conjuring universe, I've only seen the first Conjuring. I've seen the first two Annabelle movies. So going into Conjuring: The Last Rites, I was worried that I might not understand it, a whole bunch of it, but I was able to follow through along. And fans of the movie who have been following through, watching the whole franchise, they will be treated with a whole bunch of Easter eggs, like the cameos that we talked about. I'm glad that I was able to enjoy the movie as, being not that versed into it, but yeah, so I love that it was that accessible to me. So for those of you who haven't, seen all the movies, you could still go check it out and still have a fun time.
100%.
I want to thank you so much, Madison Lawlor and Orion Smith, for your time. I hope this isn't the end for the two of you in this franchise. And it was a pleasure speaking with you. And until next time.
Thank you so
Till
much.
next
It's so
time, thank
great.
you so much.